All right, here we are. We're back with Lost Signal Podcast, episode 4. Tech, folklore, and conspiracy theories.
All kinds of goodies for today.
Yeah.
Something different. This kind of wraps up our, it basically wraps up our variety of different things we'll be talking about thus far. And with we've got another outdoor episode coming up soon.
We do.
Which is going to be different all in itself. But,
yes.
More on that later. So we'll go ahead and start with some of the tech things, if you want.
Sure, but I do need to correct myself from last episode.
Oh, okay. Sure.
So
go ahead. What's up?
I referred to a trail that we talked about towards the end of the last episodes as the Buzzard's Roost Trail. That is not correct.
Okay.
And I also told people wrong how to get there.
Dude.
Yeah, and I just screwed up from the beginning. But it's not called Buzzard's Roost Trail. Buzzard's Roost is an overlook on the Goat Trail, not the Buzzard's Roost Trail. It's the Goat Trail. And I knew that. That's the stupid part about it. I knew that. But yeah, you and I believe I said to get to it, you take Harmon's Den's exit and turn right. That's wrong. You go left. You turn off of the exit left. You go under I-40, and then if I remember right, because it has been a few years since I've been there, the road basically forks. You can go right or left. Go left, and that's how you get to the Goat Trail, which takes you up to Buzzard's Roost.
Okay.
So yeah.
All right. It's all good. No problem.
So tell me about Sam Altman. What's he up to?
So he's trying something with OpenAI. He's working on a social network. He's kind of, like with Elon Musk has X and Mark Zuckerberg has Facebook and Instagram, Meta, all those things that Meta has, that whole umbrella. And so he's working on a social network that's going to be similar to X, according to multiple sources familiar with the matter. While the project is still in early stages, we're told that there's an internal prototype focused on ChatGPT's image generation. It has a social feed, and CEO Sam Altman has been privately asking outsiders for feedback about the project. And it's unclear if OpenAI's plan is to release the social network as a separate app or integrate it into their already existing ChatGPT, which is a pretty popular app.
Oh, yeah.
We've used it both, channel related, but also personally. And then Meta also has their own AI things. Elon has, Grok or something, I believe it is. But ChatGPT is the most downloaded app globally last month.
Wow.
So launching a social media network in or around ChatGPT will likely increase Altman's already bitter rivalry with Elon Musk. So back in February, after Musk made an unsolicited offer to purchase OpenAI for $97.4 billion, Altman responded, "No thank you, but we'll buy Twitter for $9.74 billion if you want." Which is the same numbers, just decimals in a different spot.
What did he pay for Twitter when he bought it? Do you remember?
I want to say it was like $6 billion.
I don't know. I don't remember. I just remember him buying it, but I don't remember what he paid for it.
I can't remember what the exact number was.
I didn't know he even had time to have a, I don't know, how did they refer to it? I didn't think Elon would have time for a bitter rivalry.
I know.
With all he's doing right now.
He's got more companies and more things to do than there are days of the week.
Yeah.
And I don't know how he's balancing it all out. Because before, he was doing like a company a day. Mm-hmm. One company a day each week.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know how he's doing that.
Yeah, I don't either.
He's an alien.
His plate is full. Yeah.
It's beyond full.
Yeah.
So entering the social media market also puts OpenAI on more of a collision course with Meta, which we're told is planning to add a social feed to its coming standalone app for its AI assistant. So Meta is building a rival to ChatGPT. It surfaced a couple months ago, and Altman shot back on X again by saying, okay, fine, maybe we'll do a social app. So it's kind of drama going back and forth, stuff like that. But I saw this, and I thought this was kind of interesting as far as, OpenAI just building a social media network, and I think at this point in time, it's hard to create something new as far as, because there's so many out there, right? And I feel like a lot of people are getting tired of new apps as far as social media type stuff, because how many apps are you going to have? How many social apps are you going to have just posting the same stuff?
Right.
You've got like, Facebook. It's kind of more of a, you can have a business on there, but you can also just for personal stuff, and you can share any kind of media on there, text, pictures, videos, whatever. And then Instagram is basically picture based.
Yeah.
Twitter or X is a little bit of text, a picture. It's expanding a little bit now. And there's other things out there too, but it's almost like a duplicate, of things. It's like just
it's the same, but
why
it's
have
the same
another
but different.
Yeah, why another one?
Yeah, I was never familiar with Twitter or X. Mm-hmm. I never really messed with it.
Yeah, I never really used it much. Mm-hmm. I had an account, and I don't know if I ever tweeted. This was before Elon took over and fired most of the company. Mm-hmm. As far as the people working there. So I haven't really used it a whole lot either. But a social app would also give OpenAI its own unique real-time data that X and Meta already have to help train their AI models. So it'll help them in the AI space as well. Musk's Grok, which is the name of his AI, surfaces content from X in its results. Musk recently went so far as to merge X and XAI into the same company, while Meta trains Llama on its vast trove of user data. And in this article, it goes on to say, it talks about one idea behind OpenAI's social prototype is to have AI help people share better content. Quote, the Grok integration with X has made everyone jealous, unquote, says someone working on another big AI lab. Especially how people create viral tweets by getting it to say something stupid. So it's kind of unclear, but it's still kind of in early stages.
Yeah.
Exactly what the direction they're going to go. But its existence inside OpenAI shows how the company is thinking about expansion at a time when expectations for its future growth are sky high. Anyway, that was that. OpenAI is really taken off. Over the last few months, it's really gotten
scary.
It is. It really is scary, and it's growing exponentially.
Yeah.
Just at the speed and the size, how quickly it is. So I found something kind of interesting that it is kind of doesn't really improve quality of life much. but it was kind of tech related. And you remember Microsoft Paint?
I do.
So somebody decided to make that like a window of Microsoft Paint, the editor, and attach it to a mirror. And so where you would have the drawing, it's a mirror. And so I just thought it was kind of weird, but kind of funny. But what's not as funny is that this mirror is $395.
Yeah, no.
You lost me at that point.
Yeah.
But it's a mirror that turns your reflection into a Microsoft Paint masterpiece. And, but you know, with Paint, I'm surprised it's still there. Like they've done a lot of things to it, but it's fundamentally still the same. They've brought in like, what is it? Microsoft's Copilot or whatever their AI thing is now. They integrated it a little bit in there, but it's basically the same as it was on Windows 95, basically. But it's supersized and it's a lot easier to use than it was. It looks prettier, and you can create like little AI pictures with it now, just with a text prompt. That's cool. Similar to other AI things that we've used. Yeah, and I thought it was interesting. But I might throw that up there on the screen so you guys have a visual of that.
That's cool.
So
this title confuses me. I saw this when you put it on in the notes for us to look at. Isn't it already google.com? Globally?
So,
I can't even talk. Globally? There we go.
How that works is each country has their own dot whatever. .com is mainly in the U.S.
No.
Like, for example, Canada is .ca. The United Kingdom is .uk. And various things from there. I believe .au is Australia.
Sure.
EU, I don't remember. There's a lot of different ones.
I didn't know that. Why would we not be .us?
That's a great question. Don't know. I actually don't know that one. There is some of those now, like .us. I mean, you could pretty much have .whatever.
Yeah.
But basically, so Google search is going to be google.com globally and not just in the North American or USA market space now. Whenever you go to Google, it'll be the same. None of that's changing. None of the experience. But the URL may look a little bit different. So Google announced on Tuesday that it's going to redirect its country code top-level domain names, or the CCTLD. Got that?
Yeah, because I know what that means.
For Google search to google.com over the coming months to streamline people's experience on the search. So, and this kind of breaks it down into a little bit more of what I was talking about. For an example, google.ng for Nigeria, or google.com.br for Brazil. You'll just see google.com in your address bar instead. As this change gradually rolls out, you may be prompted to re-enter some of your search preferences in the process, the company has said. But nothing else about your experience should otherwise change. It is important to note that while this update will change what people see in their browser address bar, but it won't affect the way the search works, nor will it change how we handle obligations under national laws, according to Google. So anything that they have in agreement with, specific countries, none of that's changing. It's just literally the address bar to get to the site. And I included some of the comments of this article, and I thought it was interesting. there's one that says, well, apparently there's a group of guys who get paid more than I ever will, who make meaningless decisions like this as their job.
Yeah.
And someone brought this up, and according to the article, I don't think this will necessarily happen, but there again, it could, because it is a .com. Now all your data will be under American jurisdiction. So that's something to keep in mind. I don't know if it will. But do you remember when it was iGoogle.com?
Mm-mm.
So I barely remember this, and it was like they had like a homepage, and you could readjust like whatever you had on your homepage, and it was like you could personalize it.
Yeah.
And it had a little I in front of it, and this person brought it up, and they were talking about that those were happier, more innocent days for the interwebs before things went a little too crazy. And so, you know, some of the other comments are interesting, but for example, somebody brought up Nintendo did this as well, and so like say store.nintendo.de, I'm assuming for Denmark, for the Nintendo store, but now, or it still uses that for the store, but the main site redirects you to Nintendo.com. So more social media stuff.
Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg is back in the headlines.
It's like you said earlier, why?
Yeah, why? So the title of this one is Mark Zuckerberg suggested spinning off Instagram. Quote from Mark said, most companies actually perform better after they've been split up. Meta's CEO told his executives in 2018. However, so while he said into an email back in 2018, this is dated information at this point, but the article continues on. But it was basically, he said, while most companies resist breakups, the corporate history is that most companies actually perform better after they've been split up. I find this very ironic because he's created Meta, and they've acquired Facebook, they've acquired Instagram, they've acquired, they've bought so many other companies, under one roof, now, but they want to split it back. That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I didn't know he had WhatsApp.
Yeah, that's one of the other ones.
I didn't know that.
But Meta spent billions of dollars acquiring Instagram in 2012. Didn't realize they owned it that long.
Me either.
And then WhatsApp in 2014. But by 2018, Zuckerberg sensed that shifting politics could lead to, as he wrote in the memo, quote, a non-trivial chance we will be forced to spin out Instagram and perhaps WhatsApp in the next 5 to 10 years, end quote. And he warned his executive team that, quote, we should keep in mind that there's a real chance that all of our work to build a family of apps may be something we don't get to keep, end quote. And Meta, have you watched some of the FTC versus Meta, or Congress versus Meta type things?
No.
They're roasting. I mean, it's a mess. All the tech giants, because it was Mark Zuckerberg, and then the Google CEO was in there. I think at one point Apple's CEO Tim Cook was there. but they were it was like an antitrust trial where it was defending itself from FTC's allegations that it illegally monopolized a subset of the social media market through its acquisitions of Instagram and WhatsApp, both of which the agency is seeking to unwind. So that's that.
Hang on a second. That's better.
We're good.
Oh. Black Magic.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that is.
So it is a broadcast company that specializes in making cameras and broadcast equipment, and some software as well. So
it's tech. This is right down your alley.
yeah.
Why are you sleepy?
So Blackmagic Design, so they make a series of different things for broadcasting and cinematography, or cinema space, the movie space.
Mm-hmm.
They have different cameras. They have broadcast equipment, a lot of different adapters that you can connect to different cables and fiber and all kinds of different tools that you would need.
Okay.
They also make some software too that's very popular in the movie industry.
Okay.
It all started with their coloring suite of software. They make video editors and stuff like that, or editing software now. It's all in one program. But the software is basically pretty much any movie out there has went through that software to be colored as far as the look
Gotcha.
of that movie. However, Blackmagic Design says that this is getting into the political space because of what it's doing. But tariffs, we've heard a lot about tariffs here lately.
Mm-hmm.
But they're going to have to raise their prices because it's unavoidable, they say. The supply chain also made U.S. production financially unviable. Blackmagic Design, an Australian-based digital cinematography company, was gearing up to start making products in the United States before the Trump administration blew a tariff-shaped hole in its plans. Now, not only Blackmagic is having to increase prices in the U.S. to mitigate some of the levies of imported goods, but those same tariffs are also making it difficult to justify opening a U.S. production line. We were planning to build a new factory in Dallas, Texas, to streamline our supply chain and allow us to work more directly with U.S. semiconductor companies. Blackmagic Design spokesperson Patrick Hussey told The Verge, "The introduction and ever-shifting confusion around President Donald Trump's blanket global tariffs have since complicated things," according to Hussey, because while the semiconductor parts and PCBs used in Blackmagic's cameras are sourced from U.S. companies, those companies are importing from overseas. If we proceed with the U.S. factory, we'd incur tariffs on those parts, increasing costs and negating the savings we anticipated, said Hussey. So it's a no-win situation that many other businesses in and outside the U.S. are facing. If they deal with global suppliers, while Trump has brazenly declared that tariffs will incentivize companies to bring manufacturing to the U.S.
Sorry.
You're good. To the U.S. to remain competitive, if these manufacturers use foreign equipment or materials in their supply chain, they may directly or indirectly still get dang it. If these manufacturers use foreign equipment or materials in their supply chain, they may directly or indirectly still get hit with hefty import fees. And that's leaving aside the cost of doing business when the fees change dramatically from day to day.
So is that saying, say this company, Black Magic, opens up in, where was it, Dallas?
Dallas,
Yeah, Dallas. Yes. Are they talking about they'll get hit from bringing their products from Australia to their Dallas place?
So I believe that's part of it. And then they were also talking about
how can they have a tariff on their own company?
I don't know.
To me, that doesn't make sense. How you would get charged. I mean, and it may very well be, I don't know. But if you're just bringing your stuff from Australia to here, I don't see how you could be
tariffed on that.
Tariffed or penalized or however you want to put it when it's your product.
Just moving your stuff.
Yeah, you're just moving. Something to think about. Because I don't know. That just don't make no sense.
Yeah, I don't know if it's just the parts like starting up in the U.S. as far as the manufacturing and the building. Some of the materials is what they're referring to being tariffed. Essentially to start up in the U.S.
Yeah.
In order to get those materials, so it would be more expensive than originally planned to build in the U.S. manufacturing wise. So potentially after they get that built, if they were to proceed, they get this built, and then maybe they wouldn't be penalized anymore at that point.
Maybe.
And I just can't but wonder though if there's something that they could do, just negotiate. I don't know, how as far as negotiating goes in that space. But like, hey, we're trying to do what you want us to do, but yeah, we're still being penalized for it.
Yeah.
Directly or indirectly. With the different tariff rules that Trump was talking about applying to the semiconductor industry in a month or two. But yeah, Black Magic is basically saying just due to new government tariffs, prices increase in the U.S. have become unavoidable. And they're a multi-country operation. Production of some product lines have been relocated to reduce the impact on the customers. So it sounds like, Black Magic is doing what they can.
Yeah.
But they basically come out and said that, hey, we've exhausted all of our other options at this point, and everything. And some of the comments we're talking about, however, if they did relocate to the U.S., they're talking about how they would automate a lot of their production process instead of hiring human workers, which can be frowned upon in a way.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, they're not bringing any jobs, so
right.
What's the point in that regard? And so you can, both sides of the aisle is just kind of losing their minds in a way,
right?
In some regard, but this comment was a pretty good one. So every company will be raising prices and use tariffs as an excuse, even if all their stuff is done in the U.S. They did this with COVID, and this person was like, and just wait and see, tariff quote unquote prices will never go back down. And so that kind of brings up a point that, that prices can go up, and inflation or whatever, fill in the blank, whatever it is, due to. But the profit margin is insane.
Oh yeah.
And kind of like, so we had a new it's not a truck stop, it's just a gas station.
Yeah.
A pretty big one.
Sheets.
Okay. Yep. Sheets. Open up in the area, and there was was it Murphy's USA?
Mm-hmm.
Was across the street. And they've been there for a while, and they've had pretty decent deals on gas and incentives to shop there and get fuel there. However, hey, it's me on the TV. So they've had various incentives to shop there, and we were talking about it yesterday because they just opened the day before yesterday, and their Sheets cost of fuel was $237, and Murphy's was $266 at the time of opening. By that evening, I don't know if I told you this, you might have seen it, but it was $239 that evening, yesterday evening, last night, and then this morning it was $237 at Murphy's.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I was like, they're gonna be hurting bad.
Yeah.
But you brought up a good point, and all of that to say this is, if they can sell it at that low of cost and still make money, that just goes to show you
how much it's marked up.
Exactly.
Oh yeah.
And how much of it is a greed and political space.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
With any product, but that was just the example of the day. Something interesting. So neither one of us will be directly affected by this. But I mean, I go back and forth, which drives you nuts. But
it does.
The green bubble, blue bubble thing.
Stay with your phone that you have now. It's more user friendly.
Is it?
It is.
Okay.
It is. You don't need a tech degree to operate the other one. So.
So Android, and they're saying this is for security reasons. Phones will now auto reboot after 3 days of, if the phone is locked for 3 days in a row. There's really not much to this story.
It's just so they can download your data.
That's all it is. Nothing new. But basically, it's so whenever you first turn on your phone, and this is true for Apple, Android, whatever brand, is that when you first turn it on, it prompts you. You notice that like Face ID or any other kind of biometric stuff, it doesn't work. You've got to put in your passcode or your password.
Right.
That's the only option when you first turn it on. And it's in a state where it's actually more secure than after you've already entered your passcode. It's harder to get into. And so that's why they're saying it's for security reasons. Because your passcode, once you enter it in the first time, it's stored in the phone as cache or as in its recent memory, and it's easier to compromise that recent memory and get your passcode versus not entering it at all since this reboot. So that's the idea, and that is nothing new as far as it's more secure the first time after a fresh boot before you log into it. It's as secure as it's going to get when it comes to protecting your device. Is when you first turn it on.
So I wonder when Apple will follow. But it says locked for 3 days, though.
So basically, I took that to be is if your phone is on in standby mode for 3 days without being unlocked, it'll reboot.
Yeah, but whose phone's ever going to be like that?
I don't know if the battery even lasts for 3 days on standby. They say it does, but
No, that's true too. I didn't even think of that.
but think about it. It might if you leave it on airplane mode, but if you have it on cellular data with all the different background app refresh stuff going on, you get all these notifications. I know that if for whatever reason my phone doesn't get on the charger at night, and by morning it's barely still on. Yeah, and scrounging around to get it charged back up. But my point is if it dies battery wise, whenever you turn it back on, you're in the same state as that article was talking about. Right. Yeah. Because it's the first boot, the first unlocking of that power cycle. So I saw this and I thought it was kind of funny, kind of neat. Cosmic Robotics. It's robots that could speed up solar panel deployments. The U.S. has been building so many solar farms that companies can't find enough people to install the panels. By 2033, the number of solar installers is expected to increase by 48%, according to the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Even if those labor force growth projections pan out, the industry is still likely to face a shortage of experts with the right skills, making the work grueling and unappealing, and the fact of a significant fraction of solar farms are in making the work grueling and unappealing is the fact that a significant fraction of solar farms are where? In deserts.
In the desert.
In the desert. It's terrible work in remote places. James Emmerich, co-founder of CEO of Cosmic Robotics, told TechCrunch to give people a hand. Cosmic has developed a robotic assistant that does the heavy lifting on solar job sites. Utility scale solar panels can be and are enormous, weighing up to 90 pounds apiece, which doesn't sound too bad, but they're kind of awkward. Yeah, where the weight is kind of spread out, but it's just it's just awkward to maneuver around. Workers are required to hoist them up onto racks several feet off the ground for hours on end every day. Such exertion in extreme environments, such as the desert, can quickly exhaust a worker or worse. It's just, whenever you do something like that, and sheetrock comes to mind. Mm-hmm. It's very similar as far as, especially the 12-foot sheets. Yeah. Those things are heavy, right? And to be able to lift them up by yourself, which a lot of people do. Me, not really. Me either. I'm good to do an 8-foot sheet when I need to, but they make tools and stuff to help you hold them up. Not everybody uses them, but it does save your body from basically you destroying your body over time, because your body's just not designed to do it. The startup robots shoulder some of the job's physical burden, allowing people to focus on tasks that require more dexterity and intelligence. So basically, it's just removing some of the physical labor in some of the extreme environments. Cosmic Robotics can place a panel within a few millimeters of where it needs to be, so it's pretty accurate. Oh yeah. Workers spot the robot, ensuring everything looks right before fastening the panel to the rack. But they say that the goal is not only to lighten the burden of the physical load, but to speed things up along as well. Emmerich said that cosmic robots could allow a standard crew to be split into two, doubling the amount of solar panels that they could be installed in a single day. So it's basically, I guess that's what, a 50% increase. Yeah. Being able to split like that.
I'd like to have a house that runs completely off solar. Have no power bill.
That would be awesome.
I would like that.
I would like that too. that's kind of something that I would, working towards.
Mm-hmm.
That's like my next place. It'll be is what I'm hoping, that it'll be solar and self-sustaining, and because it's just energy that's just sitting there, and to be used and not have a power bill.
Yeah, that would be the big thing too.
Yes.
Is just you don't have that expense every month,
especially in the winter months here. It's just I feel like I'm being robbed.
Yeah.
And so they had a video as well. I might put that up on the screen, kind of show you what that cosmic robot looks like. And so moving on, TikTok, the glorious TikTok, takes on Google Maps by surfacing reviews in the comments tab. So I didn't really know what this would look like at first. And I was like, what are they even talking about? Right. Because I personally don't use TikTok very often.
Me either.
I scroll on it every once in a while, and very seldomly. And then a shop appears, which everybody's like, oh, that's great. That's a TikTok shop.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, cool. I haven't really used it much. But anyway, so in the comment section, there's another tab next to it now for reviews. And it looks just like something you would see on Google or another review site. Talking about, whether it's a location, like a scenic place or a restaurant or whatever, same exact stuff that Google's been doing for years, or Yelp or whatever the rating place is. But you can now see it on TikTok as well. And they're, I guess, challenging Google on that, or not necessarily challenging, but expanding its search ambitions to take on Google.
I wonder if they're trying to do that to, I don't know, help save itself here.
TikTok?
Yeah.
Could be. Because, they've been struggling to stay above water here in the U.S.
Sorry. It was either that or I was going to sneeze and my eyes start watering real bad.
It's becoming a top stop. Oh my Lord. In addition to becoming a top stop place for searches among Gen Z, TikTok added an image search capability last year that allowed users to take or upload a photo to find similar products in the TikTok shop. So, and like you were saying, that's one of the ways that I think TikTok is trying to save itself here.
Right.
Because they've been under a lot of scrutiny here lately, and just trying to stay. What was it that when Trump went in office, it went dark for a little bit? Yeah. I think it was. Yeah. It wasn't 24 hours, but it was an evening, and it was that, and I think CapCut, a video editor, a mobile video editor that a lot of kids use these days, and stuff like that. And they were like, "What am I going to use? What am I going to do?"
Yeah,
and I'm like, "You'll be okay.
You'll be fine."
There's other solutions out there, other apps. For me, I wasn't worried about it because I didn't use either one of them. But
yeah,
but other people did. A lot of people did, but it all came back up, and it's all working fine now and everything like that. But yeah, I think that's a way for them to kind of save themselves. But hopefully I didn't bore you too much. But
you didn't. I'll listen to tech stuff. I don't know what you're talking about half the time, but if I'll ask questions about it.
Yeah.
But.
Yeah. But that's some of the stories that I found kind of fascinating to pull up for this episode, and see what's kind of see how some of that stuff transpires, and maybe we'll update it on that, and or just pull in some new stuff next time the tech episode rolls around. We'll kind of have to see how that goes.
Cool. Just wanted to show you guys some things that we've been working on. We're trying to get ready for the Liver Mush Festival in June in Marion, North Carolina. We're going to be there at that. That's going to be on June 7th. Just wanted to show you guys some of the things that we've been building and working on.
All right, before we get into the folklore and conspiracy theories, I got an email from excuse me, sorry, from the 24 Hours of Appalachia.
Okay.
And like the last one that we were going to go to, they were raising money for the West Virginia Children's Home Society and things like that. So this time it is for Vinton, Vinton, Vinton.
Okay. I'm
assuming I'm saying that correctly. Vinton County Schools. It's Project Backpack, which a lot of counties here have that, but they put a little different twist on it. They provide meals to families that are in need over the weekends all summer long.
Okay.
So
pretty neat.
Yeah. Their goal is to raise $6,500. To me, that seems low. I mean, it's not like I got $6,500 laying around and like, here you go. You know, I'm not putting it that way, but
for an event like that,
this is a big event, but $6,500 to me seemed low. But you know, I'm sure that will be reached and surpassed.
Oh yeah, for sure.
I would hope so. So, but that's what that's the proceeds. They're going to Vinton County High School to provide weekend meals for children in middle schools, and they have one elementary school. I'm sorry, they have one elementary school, one middle school, and one high school. So it's just 3 schools in the whole county, and they're providing. These proceeds go to provide weekend meals for kids in need.
That's awesome.
Yeah. That's good that there's a group of people out there that just want to help. Mm-hmm. You know, so I like that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Good deal.
All right, folklore and conspiracy theories. I think I'm a little more weighted on the folklore side.
Okay.
Sorry.
It's okay.
I tried. So the folklore, I kept it to, excuse me, McDowell County and Burke County.
Okay.
Western North Carolina, you know, but mainly McDowell County and Burke County. But in McDowell, in the 20s and the 30s, there was a bloodthirsty animal out there called the wampus cat, killing cattle.
Whoa.
Yeah. And, you know, I was wondering, I got the, you know, thinking, you know, what could, because the description of this thing it's just much larger than a normal cat.
Oh, yeah.
With ferocious teeth and pointed ears, and it slaughters livestock.
Something you don't want to come across.
So do bobcats.
Yeah.
They're not the size of a mountain lion, which I've learned we don't have any.
Oh, we don't?
According to Google.
No mountain lions?
There's no mountain lions in Western North Carolina. I thought there were.
I did too.
Like, not here, but on up in our northern counties, counties that border Tennessee, things like that. No, but we do have bobcats.
I've seen a couple of them.
I've never seen a bobcat. I wouldn't want to see a bobcat.
I was in a safe distance, but I did see a couple out in the wild.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was like, okay, stay over there. I'll stay here.
Yeah.
Capiche?
But the local newspaper in Marion in 1932 reported on the Wampus cat because it was getting to be, I guess, such a problem that, I guess whoever described it, it had long legs, sharp pointed ears, and a large head, which describes almost the bobcat to a T.
That's
but
what it
then
sounds
I
like.
got to thinking, not saying that people in the 20s and the 30s were dumb by any stretch of the imagination, but maybe they didn't know what a bobcat was.
That's a fair point.
So I just thought that was interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Green Man. And I never really got a location for the Green Man. But how I searched for this was I typed in McDowell County folklore, and the Green Man came up, but all it really said was the Green Man is a figure associated with dense, overgrown wilderness and is kept alive through art, culture, and written works in the foothills. Legend suggests that the Green Man lures, there we go, unsuspecting travelers into remote areas, encounters, witnessing UFO type events, or becoming lost in the mountains. And I've also heard, going about that luring part, if you believe in Bigfoot,
Oh, yeah.
they say that's what he does.
Is lures you.
He lures you out and gets you all turned around and you get lost. At least that's what Expedition Bigfoot says on TV.
Hey, it's got to have some credibility there.
You would think.
Yeah, and I wonder if they're related in some way.
I thought that too when I was doing this. I was wondering.
Yeah.
I was like, I wonder if that's kind of correlating with Bigfoot. Now, I don't think Bigfoot is in McDowell County or Burke County. So
Careful.
With me saying that makes it sound like I believe in Bigfoot, and I kind of do.
Yeah.
I really do. I know anything you see on TV can be fixed, edited, however they want to portray it. I get that.
Sure.
But there's just too many stories coming off the West Coast for something to, how do I say this? There's too many stories coming off of the West Coast for something not to be there. In my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But that's just me. That's my opinion. You can think I'm stupid, crazy. It's fine. I'm all of those. So it's all right. Don't really matter to me. So I got into, of course, I had to throw in haunted locations.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I love stuff like that. So the Smith McDowell house is reportedly haunted, but that's an odd address because the McDowell house is not on Main Street in Marion. That's the one down on 70, right?
Yeah, by the Greenway, by Sonic and stuff.
Yeah, I don't know what that's talking about. I've actually got to go in there.
Oh,
yeah. When I was on the road, homeless people would break into it.
Oh,
and
right.
and sleep. And I got to go in there, and it's just it's really weird. There's only like 4 rooms in the whole place. There's a kitchen, and then what we would call a living room, and then there's a staircase that goes upstairs to a bedroom, and that's really about it.
Very small.
Yeah, but it's a big house to look at it from
I thought
the
it was more
outside.
than that.
Yeah, but it's supposedly haunted by the Dark One, according to tale, which is, and also the kids that live there. It says it's haunted by the ghost of 2 little girls, Carrie and Sarah, and a cold and ominous figure known as the Dark One, which some folks are led to believe that is Mr. McDowell himself.
The cold and ominous one?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's funny that it called it a mansion. It's not that big.
I don't know which is scarier, honestly. Little kid ghost or an ominous figure like a
Kid.
Yeah.
Kid ghost.
Yeah. I think they're scarier.
I've heard that most children hauntings are demonic hauntings. And that's how they portray.
It's not really a kid.
Yeah, that's how they portray themselves as a small child, and it's really not.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, I wouldn't really consider that house to be a mansion.
Yeah, me either.
Because we've got some bigger homes in McDowell and
the
Burke.
Carson house is bigger.
Well, yeah, it is.
And
they just added a whole addition onto it. As far as the house itself,
right?
It is bigger.
Yeah,
it's got like 3 stories.
But here's more on the ghost of the McDowell house is. Yeah, it's, even though it doesn't say, it's talking about Mr. McDowell that lived there, and he is supposedly the main haunting of the McDowell house. But a lot of the ghost story folklore for McDowell County comes out of that area of the county, down on the 70 west side of the city of Marion. Because you have the McDowell house, you have the Carson house, the Big Lots, where Walmart used to be. That spot of land is extremely haunted.
Because the graveyard up there.
Well, that, and they found while grading for Walmart a town where Cherokee Indian lived.
Oh, okay.
Pottery, different types of weapons, things like that were found
in that
while
spot.
grading. And I never saw it, but somebody said that in the old Walmart, which was Big Lots, because it's gone now too, there's you remember Layaway?
Yes.
Okay. Back where Layaway was, there's a hallway that ran behind that you could, one evening they caught a figure walking down that hallway. And I mean, it goes all the way to the other end of the store.
Yeah.
You can see on that camera view. And it said it was just as plain as day. You could see it walking down the hall. Yeah.
That's eerie.
Yes. All right. So, like I was saying, basically everything to do with McDowell County is focused more down on that side. There are some ghost that come out of from downtown due to when the whole downtown burned.
Oh yeah,
in the late 1800s, the bucket line. You're supposed to be able to see the bucket line. You know what I'm talking about though. It's just a line of people with buckets throwing water.
Yep.
Never saw it when I was on night shift working in downtown Marion, but that would have been cool to see.
Yeah. 'Cause that fire destroyed quite a bit of stuff.
Yeah, it burnt the entire town down. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, moving on a little bit into Burke County, so what do you think? Do you think Broughton Hospital, a place like that, do you think Broughton Hospital would be haunted?
Absolutely, yes.
It is, 100%.
Because if it wasn't, I wouldn't have believed it.
100%. I believe.
You want some candy?
Yeah,
Come on.
I believe that Broughton Hospital is haunted.
That's one place, not just Broughton specifically, but because it's still in operation as far as the new area, but just like an abandoned psych hospital or just a hospital in general. I would not like. Some people stay the night in some abandoned places or do nighttime tours and stuff like that. And
I would.
Would you do a tour or would you stay?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know if I would stay, but I would. I might do a tour of one. Because what kind of freaks me out is where they still have like the beds in the hallway and just just as it was, like just left in utter chaos.
Yes.
And it's just now we're a tourist site.
Yep.
And so I would say Broughton is for sure.
Yes. I actually saw something.
Oh.
At Broughton. So long time ago.
I was gonna say, when were you at Broughton?
Well, I'm fixing to tell you.
Okay.
Long time ago, I was a student at Western Piedmont Community College, and I was taking just criminal justice classes.
Right.
And for extra credit, we could help the BLET program, the Basic Law Enforcement Training Program. We could help them do building searches, and we're the bad guys. And it's just a big game of hide and seek. Yeah. It's basically all of what it is.
Just to help training and stuff.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, they did it at Broughton. And it's the, I don't know the technical name for it. They referred to it as the abandoned nurses dormitory. Oh. It's right there on Enola Road. Mm-hmm. You get off exit 104. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 104, turn left, and it's the big brick building, literally.
The old
right
building.
On the road. So, there was probably, I don't know, 5, 6, 7 of us.
Okay.
Hiding, in our game of hide and seek. And I went up to the 3rd floor.
Okay.
Because I think that's all there was. And went up to the 3rd floor, come out of a staircase, and they gave us a flashlight and all that. And
so this was at nighttime?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it was at night, and they gave us a flashlight, and I come out of the hallway, and I just kind of just pop my light on, just quick, just to see down the hall, to see if there's like how you just described, stuff is just left,
like obstacles in the way.
Yeah,
so you don't like trip.
Well, I had it on for maybe 2 seconds, 3 seconds, and all the way down at the end of the hallway, and it's just lined with doors because it's a dormitory. And,
right.
And the very last door on the left, I hit the light, and I caught like it would have been like the butt of whoever with like arm swing, and them coming, I don't know, the camera can't really, it'd be like how they step with their foot and they're pushing off.
Like mid-walk.
Right. In like mid-stride. There we go. That's what I'm looking for. Mid-stride of a person.
Sure, yeah.
Of a person walking into the last room on the left.
Uh-huh.
Well, like I said, I knew there was, 5, 6, 7 of us. And so I took off down the hall to see who it was, because I didn't want to be close to them.
Right.
If they were going to be hiding like down on that end.
Yeah. Be like, this is your spot.
Yeah, and I'll go back, I'll go back down this way.
The other way.
And because I didn't hear any doors pop or anything, And so I go down the end of the hallway, and I hit my light, and I go into the room, and it's just a wide open room with nothing in it.
Oh.
And then I was like,
Wait
wait
a
a
minute.
minute. Did I just see? So I got out of there and went all the way back down to the other end and hit on the other side.
Yeah.
But
I don't want to stay in there.
yeah, I was like, this is your room. You hide here. I'll go back down this way.
Yep.
But so yeah, but I did see that. And then when I was in basic law enforcement training, we got to go back, and not for building searches, which was the class that Western Piedmont's BLET was doing. We went down there for like mental health block of instruction, and the night, I believe he was nighttime security guard in the main building. We were all standing in there just looking around because it's really beautiful inside the main building. It's they've remodeled it, and
Oh, yeah.
it's really really nice.
I know from the exterior they've done a lot of work.
Yeah.
Interior, too.
And he was like, "Do y'all want to go in the tunnels?" And I'm like,
What?
"Yes."
Let's go.
And there's literally just, it looks like a finished wall.
Okay.
It even has like, what is it, chair rail molding that's like, 3 feet off the ground.
Yep.
All the way around. There's just a keyhole in the wall. And he puts key in it, turns it, pushes on it, and it pops and opens up, and then you're in a tunnel
What?
right out of the main building.
Whoa.
And it's brick all the way
an
down.
old brick tunnel.
Yeah. And he let us stay in there for about 30, 45 minutes, and it was awesome. And supposedly, these tunnels go all over Broughton campus. Even over, like, a few even go to the deaf school.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And there's supposedly one that goes all the way to the J. Iverson Riddle Center.
That's a big tunnel.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It was awesome in there. I'd give anything in the world to be able to go back.
Huh.
I'd love it.
Wow. That would be cool.
It would be. But I guess what Burke County is most famous for is the Brown Mountain Lights,
Oh, yeah.
which
for sure.
is not, to me, is not as exciting as Broughton Hospital. But yeah, the Brown Mountain Lights are big in Burke County. They're a lot of folks think they're UFOs. A lot of folks think that it's just gas being given off. I've never seen them. Have you seen them?
No.
Yeah, I haven't either. But I know you can look at them from the Parkway.
I think
Is
it
that
is.
right?
Yeah, I
it's
think
not
so.
105. It's the Parkway, I believe. Because I didn't find that in here. Like I said, I've never seen them, but I do believe it's the Parkway. And they're described as being glowing orbs or fiery streaks that appear on clear nights, particularly in summer. I don't know why, but it dates all the way back to when Civil War soldiers have seen them, Indians have seen them. So it dates back. I mean,
Quite a ways.
Yeah, before Civil War. The theories are that the lights include. Hang on. The theories about the lights include ball lightning. Never heard of that. Ghost lights, UFOs, and I can't say that.
Phosphorescent.
There you go. Light from the forest land. And scientists have even studied the phenomenon and attributed the lights of a train or car headlights, but there's no roads down there or a railroad track.
I remember somebody telling me that's what it looked like.
Right.
But there's nothing there.
There's nothing
down there.
Yeah, because it's in the gorge. I don't believe
There's like rumors of, that was like a, car that went off or whatever.
Right.
But I'm like, well, not if it dates that far back.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know.
It's like some sort of lantern, some sort of something. But, like you said, it's only in the summer.
Yeah.
So it makes me wonder if it is some sort of like gas related environmental thing, because temperature related, some sort of reaction to some sort of gas in the air.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But viewing spots is the Brown Mountain Overlook and Wiseman's View. So you can see it off of 105. You can go to Wiseman's View on 105.
Okay.
Are the good spots to view the lights in the summer at night. They've inspired songs. Never heard of them before. The lights have inspired songs and stories, including Sonny James' Legend of Brown Mountain Light, and an episode of X-Files. I did not know that.
Didn't know that either.
Yeah.
That's fascinating.
I think my... Hang on a second. All right, so the TV show Hunting Hitler.
Oh man.
Did you ever watch it?
Every episode.
Okay. I loved it because I love World War II stuff.
Yeah. And it was really well produced.
Mm-hmm.
Very thorough.
Yeah. So that's why I titled this part "Were We Taught Wrong?"
Mm-hmm.
You know, because I was taught in school that Hitler died in Germany.
Yep. Self-inflicted.
Yeah, and they found different.
Mm-hmm.
Now I found a bunch of people online just eating this TV show alive, saying how fake it is and all that.
But is it?
Yeah, I mean, who knows?
And one of the things in the show that they found out, the further they got into this investigation, like in season, I think it was 3 seasons.
Yeah.
And in the last few episodes, you know, no spoilers or anything like that necessarily. But the thing about it is, even to this day, people are afraid to talk about it.
Yeah.
That's what they found. Like,
Yeah.
they had a lot of people that didn't want to talk about it, and that kind of threw some wrenches in there of, you know, okay, well, we still need this information.
Mm-hmm.
But some people were afraid to talk even now.
I mean, this show came out a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, so the History Channel series Hunting Hitler was canceled because, and I don't think it was what this says. They finished out their investigation and turned their paperwork over to the CIA or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's how they portrayed it in the show.
Yeah, I didn't realize it was canceled.
But they said it was canceled due to lack of rigorous research and promotion of unsustainable theories about Adolf Hitler's survival. But that's not what I remember.
Mm-mm.
But, you know. And like this one guy, Brian Lowry, wrote for Variety, seriously, guys, what's next? Hitlerendo, because supposedly he died in South America.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, man, but if you remember on that show, they interviewed like this really old lady who swears up and down she saw him.
Yep.
Like every day.
Yeah.
Lived like a few houses down.
And she's like, I know who that is.
Yeah. Showed him a picture and she was like, oh, that's, you know,
Yeah.
But he went by a different name.
Oh, yeah. Completely.
And see, that was another thing that they found. They found his alias
Mm-hmm.
on the paperwork for him coming into the, what was it, Argentina?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, him coming into the country of Argentina.
Yeah. And one of the things that they were able to kind of follow, one of the pieces of evidence was all of the medicine bottles that were left.
Yes.
Because it was some sort of stomach issue that he had, and that, I don't know if that's what actually killed him, but it wasn't self-inflicted, you know, based on the show. It was, he succumbed to some physical illness.
Yes.
But he did survive, you know, World War II, and that was just a distraction.
Think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I think he made it out. That's just me.
I think they provided, unlike what they were saying, where you know, lack of rigorous research and unsustainable. I find it the opposite. I thought it was extraordinarily thorough, and I thought they did their due diligence and their research, and all over that whole part of the world. Done all these dives, looking in the water of the U-boats and all the different stuff, and it was very fascinating.
Same. I loved it. I loved that show, and it's whatever.
You present facts, and people will believe whatever they want.
Yeah. So that Brian Lowry wrote for CNN that in a year when fake news receives so much attention, history is willingly promoting bad history, filled on unsustainable theories and speculation.
Opinion?
Yeah, that's an opinion. Could you imagine the chaos that would create for our school systems if that was found out? You'd have to rewrite history.
Yeah, with the truth.
Even though they probably don't teach it anymore.
Yeah.
Sorry, probably shouldn't have said that. But they probably don't teach it anymore. We spent weeks
on the subject.
World War II. In when I was in high school, and I loved it.
Yeah, I remember that as well. We spent quite a bit of time on it. And I remember very specifically them saying that he didn't make it out of Germany.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they made it very clear. And so, him surviving that and making it to various other countries really fascinated me, because he's a worldwide known person.
Yeah.
For some pretty horrific stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And just to see, him start, in a sense, a new life. It was just like, what?
Yeah. It was fascinating to me. I loved it. I loved that show. Let's see. Did you ever hear about this is changing subjects drastically here. Did you ever hear about the 17-pound gold nugget found in North Carolina?
Is that why they have the gold nugget drop on New Year's?
Probably not.
Oh, okay. I was wondering about that.
Yeah, no.
I was wondering if that was related or not.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
17-pound gold nugget.
Yeah, 17-pound gold nugget was found in North Carolina by a little boy. Yeah.
Lucky boy.
Little boy by the name of Conrad. I don't know when this was. Right there in 1802. So this tells you how long time ago it was. It was on the Reed's Farm, the Little Meadow Creek on Reed's Farm in Cabarrus County. The rock reportedly weighed 17 pounds and for 3 years was used as a doorstop at the Reed's house. In 1802, a Fayetteville jeweler identified the rock as a gold nugget. All right, so when I found this little story, I thought it was funny because I don't know if you've ever been panning for gold.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I enjoy stuff like that. I think that's fun.
Yeah.
I was like, well, what's the price of gold right now? And it's $3,158.18 an ounce.
Oh, gosh. And they had 17 pounds.
So 17 pounds equals 272 ounces. So in today's money, that 17-pound rock was worth $859,024.96 in 1802.
Dude.
Yeah.
That's like...
Well, that's going off of today's price of gold. It would have been worth that in 1802.
Regardless of what it equated to in 1802, that's like life-changing. That's generational changing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and to think they used it for a doorstop for 3 years.
Yeah, no kidding.
How do they, I wonder how they, how the jeweler How did it get to the jeweler?
I don't know.
Like somebody was like, "Hey,
Yeah.
why don't you have that valued?"
I don't know. Maybe.
That's nuts, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I just thought it was cool that a 17-pound gold nugget was found by, of course, a little boy,
Yeah.
Playing outside.
Between that fact and just I can't get over the doorstop.
Yeah, and it was used as a doorstop. So yeah, I thought that was pretty cool. So going from ghost to hunting Hitler to 17-pound gold nuggets. Now we're going to talk very briefly about UFOs.
Ooh.
Yeah, UFOs and UAPs in North Carolina. Charlotte leads the state for UFO sightings at 249 UFO UAP sightings.
That's quite a bit.
Yeah. And
these are official sightings, like official, like documented, allegedly sightings.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But there's a big airport there.
Yeah, and it's an international airport.
Yeah. So, but they lead the state.
Okay.
That might as well say 250.
Yeah.
Asheville only has, Asheville was on the list as well. This was just like a top 10 type thing, and Asheville came in, it was towards the bottom. It was like 7th or 8th at 71 sightings.
Okay.
I myself have never seen a UFO. I've never seen anything that looked odd in the sky. So I don't know. I mean, granted, I've never seen a Bigfoot either, but I think that's real. But that's just me.
Let me show you Bigfoot. Hang on. No, I just have hobbit feet.
Yeah.
A little bit different. So I've seen I don't know what it was. And after doing a lot of research, I can't seem to find any public documentation of what it was. And it was two of them flying in unison, one in front of the other.
Yeah.
And it kind of looked like, that really flat looking bomber that they've got. I forgot what it's called, which one it is, but it's like a
Yeah.
but it's really big.
It's almost like a
Triangle
type.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I forgot what that's called.
But that's what it looked like, or similar. But there was a couple characteristics about it that ruled it out completely.
No.
So the minimum speed of that, I think, was like 80 miles an hour.
Okay.
To keep it in the air. And they're really loud. And this thing, or these things, were going maybe 20 miles an hour.
How high up was this?
I could see the underneath of it.
Oh, okay.
So it was barely above the house.
Oh,
like
okay.
really, actually, like right above the tree line.
Oh, wow.
And they were going with the terrain.
Okay.
And kind of like a helicopter does in a way.
Right. Yeah.
But it definitely wasn't that either. And there was some lighting on it. There was some markings on it. I couldn't figure out what the markings were, which kind of made me think of, okay, well, this isn't this. I'm not supposed to be seeing this, probably.
Right.
But this was like at 11:30 at night.
How long ago?
This was like if I were to guess, I'd say it was around 2016.
Okay.
Almost 10 years ago now at this point. But I vividly remember it.
Wow.
And I was gonna go in and get my phone because I left it inside and record it, take a picture, but I didn't because, and I was the only one out there, so there's like, oh, wow, it's just you. You're just spazzing out.
Right.
I understand how crazy that sounds, but
Yeah.
the thing about it is I didn't want to go inside to A, get someone else, or B, get my phone and miss what was going to happen.
Right.
I was so fixated on, number one, what is that?
Yeah.
Number two, what if it disappears?
Yeah, and it's gone.
Yeah, but it didn't do that. I watched it fly over the horizon. But they flew together.
Yeah.
Like I said, one was ahead of the other.
Yeah.
By just a little bit. I don't even think it was a full length ahead. It was like about halfway.
Right.
But it sounded like to me. So, a locomotive, like say in a train yard or just sitting on the tracks, right, idling, is what it sounded like.
Okay.
It wasn't loud, but
Right.
it was definitely a machine sound.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounded like a big machine, but it wasn't that loud. And what got my attention, what drew me outside to it, was not the sound. I didn't hear it from inside. I was watching the news or a movie or something, and just unwinding for the night. And there was the windows in the living room, and I saw them coming across the field by the house.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is that? Because there's not a road right there. There's not headlights.
Yeah.
I was like, what is this, Brown Mountain Lights? I didn't know what it was.
Yeah.
And so I go outside to look at it, and I just look up, and it's just right above me.
Yeah.
Or actually, I go out in the front yard, and it's not quite above me at this point, and I watch it fly over. Me.
Yeah.
And, dude, I don't know what it was. And, I tried Googling it, but I'm sure I just flagged some government agency somewhere.
Yeah, no kidding.
Like, oh, crap, a civilian saw us. I'm sure that's all it was.
Right.
But
was it?
I don't know. I don't know what it was. And to this day, I haven't. And every once in a while, I'll research of an aircraft, because years later stuff becomes public or whatever.
Yeah.
Documentation gets leaked out or on purpose, whatever. It becomes public knowledge. Still to this day, can't find anything that it could have been.
Wow.
Because an aircraft, it cannot fly that slow.
Yeah.
Any public knowledge right now of an aircraft still to this day can't fly that slow.
Yeah.
And that quiet. But it was almost like, and here's where I jump into the conspiracy theories of it had to be some sort of anti-gravity thing in order to go that slow.
Yeah.
It was just barely moving. Because the road that was in front of the house, the speed limit there was like 55. So I was very familiar with what 55 looked like.
Yeah.
Because I sat on the front porch every day and watched cars go down the road. Very busy road.
Right.
This was not even half that speed.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, this thing is very slow, whatever it is. But it was kind of weird because, like, for example, like say in Star Wars, you can see the exhaust in the back, that glowing blue or that glowing red or whatever.
Yeah.
Didn't have that either.
Wow.
And it was just a couple of little lights, and the light from the house was kind of lighting up the belly of it. And that was it.
That's cool.
I don't know what it was, dude. But it was like this. It was like this stealthy black machine looking triangle-ish shape
thing.
Wow. And it was very quiet, very slow. Just blew me away. Like, not actually, but it just mentally, I was like, what the crap is that?
What did I just see?
Yeah. Because, we've got the military, they fly over the lake a lot. And do different things, but you can hear them coming
from a good distance.
Oh yeah, and they're very loud, very fast. Of course, these are like fighter jets, but normally, I don't know if this was that, just with a completely different technology.
Right.
I have no idea.
Well, what is it? They're supposedly 10 years ahead of what we know.
At least, yeah. 10 years.
Something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So maybe next year we'll figure out what it was.
Maybe. You'll be like, that's what I saw.
I saw that.
Long time ago.
Yeah.
You're trying to be sneaky and I caught you.
Sneak. But yeah, man, that was kind of my experience with it. I think that's basically the only UFO, UAP stuff that I've seen in this area, or really at all.
Yeah, I've never seen anything. like that.
Yeah.
I did, however, which was really cool. I saw the other morning, went to work, and one of the guys at work was he had bought his own night vision,
Okay.
and we were watching satellites fly over.
Oh, cool.
And I thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah.
And we got to see like 6 of them, just all in a row, just going over. And it was pretty cool to see that.
That's awesome.
So we're going to talk about one more thing, and then we'll let y'all go.
One more thing.
One more, and that is the Blue Origin.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
11-minute.
The whopping 11 minutes.
11-minute. How would you even say it? 11-minute
Astronaut introduction.
travel to space and back. I guess.
Yeah. Space travel.
I think it's fake.
It looked like it. There's some shots on there. Just, it looked fake. It looked like CGI, but also kind of before the show we were talking about, like SpaceX, comparatively.
Yeah.
Whenever they were coming back in, that rocket,
it's moving.
It's moving. You can
And it
see
has-
the little boosters on the sides.
Yeah, and
Orienting itself.
this thing is perfect.
Yeah. And it didn't even spin.
It's not spinning. It's perfect,
Yeah.
and it just lands perfectly.
Yeah.
And you have the cloud dust that flies up before the capsule even touches the ground. And I mean, there's a lot of stuff that a lot of people are picking out of this launch that don't add up.
Yeah.
A lot of people are saying that it takes longer than 11 minutes to get from ground to outer space and back.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's fake. I think it was a big publicity stunt. But then I'm like, for what?
What do they gain from it?
Yeah, what? Because I also heard that he is trying to follow in Elon's footsteps on developing stuff like that to get up into space.
Yeah.
And have a rocket to return. But he has not been successful to have a rocket return yet until that.
And they had a bunch of people on
Yeah.
board, famous people on board.
Yeah. His wife was on board.
Dude.
I think it was a failed attempt. But yeah, they've shown. I've seen pictures of. I don't remember who the lady was that went on this, but there's a picture of, because they're in like those chairs which look like they're almost like recliners. They're laid back in, and they're strapped,
Right.
all that.
Yep.
And their hands, but this hand looks just like a mannequin's hand. It's even shiny in the sun. And
Anybody got hands like that?
last time I checked, my hands don't shine when I go out in the sun.
I'm not a vampire.
Let me see if I can. That's sparkle.
Oh, sorry.
Actually, they catch on fire. Let's see if I can find that picture. Blue. I mean, this would be really cool. I'm sure. I mean, it would only be for the extreme wealthy
To be able to participate in it.
to be able to do
it.
something like this. I mean, it would be really, really cool, and it would shut up all those flat earthers. Getting up into the atmosphere
To experience it for themselves.
Yeah, but they're all saying that this is all fake too. just like I'm saying it's fake.
Okay.
But I mean, it looks fake.
Yeah. So most of us are in agreement of it not looking real.
Yeah. Yeah, there's, like what this is saying right here, there's no burn marks on them re-entering atmosphere.
For re-entry, yeah.
This thing is,
Pristine condition.
white as snow, and they've shown, and like other things that I've seen, they've shown other actual capsules from on re-entry, and they're just, there's no white left. They're burnt, slam up.
Oh, yeah.
But
'Cause they're on fire.
Yeah. But there's the fake hand.
Yeah, that looks.
Yeah, it's pretty terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's shiny.
Yeah, my hand doesn't shine like that when I go outside and in the sunshine. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that. That happened, what, 2 days ago? They did that launch?
I think so.
2 days ago, 3 days ago? And it's just been...
nonstop.
Yeah, people picking it apart. But I don't know. I think it's fake. I think it was a publicity stunt. I don't know how they pulled it off.
Yeah.
But, I don't...
And what they actually gained from it. So it's burning up money. I mean...
Well, when you got as much as he does...
Man. What's a few million?
Yeah. I don't know. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about the Blue Origin whatever. Because I don't know if it was real or not.
Right.
But I wouldn't want to send my own wife up on something and I haven't successfully brought it back to Earth yet.
Absolutely not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, dude, that's a stupid idea.
Yeah. Even if she volunteered for it, just hold on. Just
let me get this safe first.
Yeah, let me get this good before I would send anybody.
Oh, yeah. That's why they sent mannequins.
I guess. And why was it Russia sent monkeys first?
Yeah.
Before they sent people. Duh.
I mean, and we seen Katy Perry, so
yeah, we sent her. But she, her interview was priceless. She comes out of the capsule and they ask her, what she thought. She talked nothing of space. And it was all how more connected to love she is now.
Okay.
Yeah. And, she gets out.
Because that's relevant.
Because she gets out after being gone for 11 minutes and kisses the ground. And we just brought 3 back that had been up there for 9-10 months, however long they were there.
Way longer than they were supposed to be.
Oh, yeah. I also heard something on that they were from NASA, right?
I believe it was, yeah. Yeah.
NASA isn't going to pay them overtime for being there. I don't know if this is true or not. This is just what I heard. That their mission was only supposed to be like a month or 2 or something. I don't remember.
Right. It wasn't too long.
But I don't know how their pay works. If it's like, this is what you're going to make this mission.
Like mission based, or
yeah,
is it like hourly or whatever?
But it was only supposed to be we'll say a month.
Right.
They're not going to pay them
Beyond
extra for being up there for 8 more.
That's pretty crappy.
Yeah, no kidding. Yeah. Maybe Elon will offer him a job and be like, "I'll pay you. Come on."
Come on board.
Yeah, come on board. We'll do something good.
Yeah.
But that's all I got today.
Yeah, that's all I got. Learned a lot today.
Yeah, I had a few questions about your tech stuff.
Yeah.
That I probably should have read it, but I enjoy not knowing.
Yeah.
And then I can ask.
Yeah.
Then I can come up with questions on the spot.
Get that, and that's kind of something that we've talked about doing.
Yeah.
And to get the genuine reaction.
Yeah.
To things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I enjoy not reading what you add to the notes. So maybe you'll do the same, and you'll be, I don't know, because I like to come up with questions right then and there.
Yeah.
Instead of thinking of, okay, well, what can I ask about that? And then it'll be stupid because I know nothing about tech.
Yeah.
You weren't supposed to agree to that, but it's okay.
I didn't.
You did. You went, yeah.
Oh, maybe I did.
It's perfectly fine.
My bad.
It's okay.
You got anything else?
No. Next episode will be in 2 weeks, just like always.
Mm-hmm. Look a little bit different.
Yeah, it'll look a little different this next go around. It'll we'll have a lot of extra content. It won't just be us sitting at a table.
I don't know if we'll be sitting at a table at all.
I don't think we'll be. Yeah, we'll be sitting, but probably not at a table.
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll figure it out. Have no idea what the topic is going to be. It might just be what we're looking at the time.
It might be just more of a vlog style.
Yeah, maybe.
Possibly.
But looking forward to that.
Yeah.
That's coming up, like I said, in 2 weeks. Also, here's one thing that we haven't talked about yet at all.
Okay.
And we keep saying after every episode, we need to talk about.
I think I know where you're going with this. And I actually completely forgot.
Yeah, me too until just now.
Good deal.
Here at the Lost Signal Podcast, we have this little app that shows us how many people have watched our episodes.
Yep.
The number of subscribers we have, the number of viewing hours, all that. So we see you watching. Please subscribe. If you like what you hear, please subscribe to it. If you don't, that's perfectly fine. We're not going to please everybody. We're not in the job to please everybody.
But just consider subscribing.
Yeah, just
please.
consider subscribing.
Yeah.
We enjoy doing this. I don't care. Well, I do care. I can't say I don't care. I do care if you subscribe or don't subscribe. I do care. But if you like what you hear, please like and subscribe.
Yeah. That support, is nice to see, and engagement or whatever in the comments.
Yeah.
And just knowing that hey, we're actually just talking to other humans out there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're not in here trying to report the news or anything.
No, by any means.
Yeah, and if we get something wrong, say it.
Let us know.
Yeah, let us know. Put it in a comment.
Yeah.
And we'll correct ourselves on the next episode, just like I did when we started this episode.
Yeah.
I told y'all something wrong last week, and I hope nobody went up there looking for this place and they went the wrong way because, he said it was go right. Well, sorry, you go left.
The other way.
Yeah, your other right. But yeah, if we get something wrong on here, please tell us, and we'll look into it and we'll fix it.
Yep.
So
we make mistakes sometimes.
Yeah. So,
human.
Yep. So like and subscribe.
Yes.
All right.
Until
next time.
Next time on the trail.
Yes. Yeah.
Coming to you from the trail.
Yep.
Probably.
Yep. It'll be awesome.
Yep. All right, guys. We'll see you in the next one.
See ya.